Beloved souls, let me ask you something that might shake your soul awake. Have you ever felt like you're not really from here? And I don't mean in a poetic or metaphorical way. I mean in a cellular, soul-deep, timeline collapsing kind of way. Like your body's walking on Earth, but your consciousness is stretched across galaxies. Like your memories are scattered across lifetimes. Like your dreams are more vivid than your waking life, and your intuition speaks louder than logic ever could. If you felt that, felt it not as fantasy, but as a quiet, sacred knowing, then this message may not be new to you. It may be the message you've been waiting your whole life to remember. Because what you're about to hear is not for everyone. It's not for the masses. It's for those who carry something ancient in their eyes. It's for those who have walked through lifetimes in silence, pain and power, and who are now, finally, beginning to wake up. Before we dive in, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who has supported this channel through Super Thanks. Your energy, your generosity, your belief in this sacred work means more than words can ever express. Whether you've given or not, please know, your presence here is the greatest offering. I honor you. I see you. I'm grateful for you. If this transmission resonates with your spirit, I invite you to comment 777 right now. Let that number be your soul's signal, a sacred code of confirmation, a sign to the universe that you are here, you are awake, and you are ready to remember. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, because this channel isn't just a source of information. It's a spiritual hub, a soul grid, a gathering place for the scattered chosen ones to find each other, to rise together, and to unlock the codes hidden inside everyday life. I know this might sound dramatic, like something out of a science fiction movie, but stay with me. What if I told you that across the vast cosmic expanse there are souls, divine volunteers, who agree to incarnate across dimensions, across timelines, across densities? What if I told you that you are one of those souls, and that the reason life has always felt a little too intense, a little too isolating, a little too off, is because you're not from just one place. You're from everywhere, and you've come here with a mission encoded so deeply in your being, even you forgot it. Until now. So how do we know who these rare ones are? How do we recognize a multidimensional chosen one when the world around them constantly tries to convince them they're crazy, delusional, or too sensitive? That's what this video is about. This is not entertainment. This is sacred technology. This is a remembering tool, a spiritual decoder, a mirror for your soul. And if something inside you feels seen as you hear these words, it's not because I'm telling you anything new. It's because your higher self already knew. You've just been waiting for the right frequency to activate it. Now, let's begin. God's chosen ones, 7 signs. You're a rare, multidimensional chosen one. It's a powerful gift. The first sign, you've never truly felt human, because you're not just human. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you were wearing a costume? Have you watched people go about their daily lives, commuting to work, making small talk, chasing after routines, and wondered, why does this feel so artificial to me? If so, you're not imagining things, chosen one. You're remembering. You've been trying to fit into a world that was never designed for the full essence of who you are. Yes, you've played along. You went to school, got a job, maybe even checked all the boxes society told you to check. You've learned the rules of the human game, worn the mask well, and blended into the crowd, at least on the surface. But even in the middle of a celebration or a crowded room, there's that deep, subtle vibration inside you. A whisper in your spirit, a dissonance. You've always felt a quiet but consistent knowing that something about this world doesn't sit right with your soul. But why? Why does human life, with its limitations, labels, and constant separation, feels so out of sync with who you are, because, chosen one, your soul didn't originate from this density. This planet, with its time-bound systems and physical constraints, is foreign to the place you once called home. You're accustomed to higher dimensions, where unity is law and separation is the illusion, where communication is instant, energy is truth, and love is not conditional but a natural frequency. The Bible gives us a glimpse into this deep truth. In Philippians 3:20, it says, "But our citizenship is in heaven, and we eagerly await a Savior from there, the Lord Jesus Christ." You were never meant to root yourself too deeply in this world, because your true identity is anchored in the divine. You're not just human. You are a multidimensional being navigating a temporary realm. Earth is not your origin, it is your mission field. This world is a spiritual boot camp, and your challenge is not to conform, but to remember. Every awkward conversation, every moment of spiritual homesickness is your soul trying to reawaken, trying to remind you where you came from. This disconnection you feel, it is not a malfunction, it's confirmation. It is the echo of eternity beating in your earthly body. Romans 12:2 reminds you not to mold yourself to this world. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That off feeling you can't shake is actually the beginning of your awakening. You're not alone in this experience. Many chosen ones throughout history felt out of place in the world. Take Nikola Tesla, for instance. Known for his revolutionary work in energy and electricity, Tesla once said, "My brain is only a receiver. In the universe, there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration." He sensed, like you, that his mind was tapping into something far beyond Earth. Or consider Emily Dickinson, the brilliant poet who lived most of her life in isolation. Her writing often reflected a soul that saw beyond time and matter. She once penned, "I'm nobody. Who are you?" as though she knew her identity transcended what the world could name. Even Jim Carrey, the actor known for his comedic genius, once admitted in an interview, "I spent so many years trying to be somebody, only to realize that the somebody I was trying to be was a complete illusion." He later expressed deep spiritual insights that revealed his awareness of a higher dimension of self, just like you. So let me ask you, chosen one, is it possible that your confusion was never about being broken, but about being built for something more? John 17:16 gives further affirmation, "They are not of the world, even as I am not of it." This was Jesus speaking of his disciples, the chosen ones, people like you, whose souls were never designed to be fully at home here. Your discomfort is not your weakness. It is your divine compass. You see, being multidimensional means you carry memories and wisdom from realms that many have forgotten. You sense truths others cannot name. You've likely experienced synchronicities, déjà vu, or an intense awareness that life is more than what we see. That's not just intuition, that's divine memory resurfacing. As 1 Peter 2:11 says, "Dear friends, I urge you as foreigners and exiles to abstain from sinful desires which wage war against your soul. You are a traveler in this realm, an exile with sacred knowledge." That unease you feel is your spirit urging you to rise above the illusion and reclaim your identity as God's chosen one. So don't numb it, don't suppress it. That inner tension you feel isn't something to escape, it's something to embrace. It's the invitation to remember who you truly are. Because here's the truth, you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out and to stand apart for a higher purpose. The second sign, your multidimensional perception is a superpower, not a flaw. Have you ever wondered why your experiences seem to stretch far beyond the limits of logic and what people call normal? Why you sense things before they happen, feel the emotions of others without a word being spoken, or walk into a room and know its energy instantly? Have you ever asked yourself, why do I feel like I live in multiple layers of reality at once? Chosen one, this is not your imagination. It's your multidimensional perception, and it has always been active within you, even before you had the words to describe it. From a young age, you may have seen what others couldn't see. Shadows, lights, figures that flickered in the corner of your vision. You may have dreamt of people you'd never met, only to meet them years later. Or perhaps you felt a deep knowing that something would happen, and then it did. How many times did you question your sanity simply because no one else mirrored this reality back to you? And yet, what you were experiencing wasn't insanity, it was insight. 1 Corinthians 2:14 speaks directly to this hidden knowledge within you. The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness, and cannot understand them because they are discerned only through the Spirit. You were born with a spiritual receptor that operates on frequencies most people can't even detect. You have never been confined to the limitations of the 3D world. Even when you were a child, your soul was scanning multiple dimensions at once. You've likely felt emotions that weren't yours. You've sensed timelines converging, or felt like two versions of yourself were present in a single moment, one living and one remembering. That's because, chosen one, your perception is attuned not just to this reality, but to higher dimensions, 4D, 5D, and beyond. You are living in a world built for low bandwidth, while your spirit operates like a supercomputer, pulling signals from the entire quantum field. When others see what's right in front of them, you're seeing what's behind, beneath, and beyond it. Just like Van Gogh, the artist who painted stars that swirled and skies that pulsed with color, not as he saw them with his eyes, but as he felt them with his soul. He once said, "I dream my painting, and I paint my dream." His multidimensional sensitivity was so intense that it was mistaken for madness, but time revealed it was genius. Psalm 119:18 whispers your reality. Open my eyes, that I may see wondrous things out of your law. Your eyes, dear chosen one, were opened from the beginning, not just your physical eyes, but the eyes of your spirit. Let's talk about Whoopi Goldberg, who as a child used to see what she called ghosts. Spiritual presences others couldn't see. She was told she was imagining things, but she later embraced her gifts, not only as a performer but as someone spiritually aware. Her sensitivity didn't hold her back. It gave her a creative and emotional depth that captivated millions. Or look at Carl Jung, the legendary psychologist who broke away from Freud because he believed in the reality of the unconscious, synchronicity, and archetypes. Jung had visions, dreams, and profound inner experiences that guided his life's work. He once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." He knew that perception beyond the physical was not illusion, it was revelation. Let me ask you this, chosen one, what if the very things you've been told to suppress are the keys to your spiritual destiny? What if your high-level sensitivity is not a glitch, but a God-given gift? Hebrews 5:14 confirms this truth. But solid food is for the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil. You've trained, often unknowingly, to discern realities others cannot. You pick up subtle truths before they take form. You see patterns before they unfold. You are not crazy. You are prophetic. But with this gift comes the weight of misunderstanding. You may have been told you were too emotional, too intense, or too imaginative. But remember, those who walk in the Spirit will always be misunderstood by those who live by the flesh. Galatians 5:25 says, "Since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit." Your steps may seem strange to the world, but they are aligned with heaven. And yes, it can feel overwhelming. There are days when your spirit is exhausted by the noise of the physical world. Days when you retreat into solitude, not because you are antisocial, but because the sheer volume of spiritual data you absorb is draining. That isn't failure, it's protection. God has equipped you with perception that pierces through illusion. The visions, the dreams, the spontaneous spiritual downloads, they are all messages from a dimension beyond this one, a reminder of your mission, a sign that you were chosen not just to live, but to perceive what others can't and lead them into deeper truth. So when your sensitivity overwhelms you, pause and remember, you were never built for average perception. You were built for divine revelation. And when the world says, "That's not real," you'll hear a deeper voice inside that says, "It is, and I gave it to you." The third sign, you carry a sacred mission in your soul, and it refuses to let you settle. Have you ever felt like no matter how much you achieve, how peaceful your life becomes, or how many goals you check off, there's still something stirring deep inside you, a tension that never fully leaves, a restlessness that doesn't make sense to anyone else? You can't explain it, but you know it's real. Why do you constantly feel like there's something more you're meant to do? That pull inside of you, chosen one, is not anxiety. It's not dissatisfaction. It's not your imagination running wild. It is the ancient fire of your soul contract, the divine mission God wrote into your being long before you were born. This world may not understand it, but your spirit does. You didn't come here to merely exist. You came here to transform. Even in your moments of joy or accomplishment, something within you remains unsatisfied. And that's not because you're ungrateful. It's because your mission hasn't fully unfolded yet. You feel it in your bones. There's more. There's something else I'm here to do. Jeremiah 1:5 speaks directly to this divine assignment. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. You were chosen long before you were born. And even if your earthly mind can't yet name the mission, your soul never forgot it. You may not have the roadmap, but you've always had the sense, that deep inner knowing that your life must mean something greater, that you're not here to fit in, but to ignite, that your presence alone is a catalyst, even when you're silent. And that truth is so deeply embedded in you, it refuses to let you settle for mediocrity. Leonardo da Vinci, for instance, once said, "I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do." Da Vinci was not just a painter or inventor. He was a soul consumed by the sense that his genius was meant to serve something higher. His works transcended time because they were born from the tension of that inner fire you also carry. Have you ever felt like you're waiting for a signal, like your life is preparing for a moment that hasn't happened yet, but is already written in the stars? That's not wishful thinking. That's alignment. That's divine timing in motion. Romans 8:28 affirms this reality. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. That calling inside of you is not random. It's sacred. You're not just wandering through life. You're being positioned, prepared, and purified for something enormous. Harriet Tubman, one of the most courageous leaders in American history, once said, "I had reasoned this out in my mind. There was one of two things I had a right to, liberty or death." She was driven by an unshakable sense of purpose. Her mission led her through unimaginable danger, yet she never stopped. Why? Because chosen souls don't get to walk away from their assignments, not without spiritual consequence. That inner fire you feel isn't a nuisance. It's divine urgency. It's God's whisper saying, "There's more to you than what they see. You're not just meant to go through the motions of life. You're here to shift the very fabric of reality. You're here to build systems that liberate, art that awakens, movements that echo through generations." Ephesians 2:10 confirms your role in this cosmic design. "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." You were born with encoded blueprints, and every time you resist settling, every time you push back against comfort zones, you're honoring those blueprints. Let's not forget George Lucas, the visionary behind Star Wars. Long before the franchise became legendary, Lucas felt a pressing call to tell a story bigger than himself, one that would awaken the spiritual warrior in others. His saga wasn't just fiction, it was prophecy woven through film. Many don't realize it, but his work was built on the idea of the Force, a higher power guiding destiny, much like your own unseen guide. So let me ask you this, chosen one, what if your mission isn't something you find, but something you awaken into? What if it's not about chasing, but about remembering? Isaiah 61 calls to your spirit now, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." The mission is not just something you do, it is something you become. Every lesson, every pain, every loss, every delay, it has all been part of the activation. The fire doesn't burn you to destroy you, it burns to reveal who you truly are. You were never meant to live a small life. You came to awaken others by walking boldly in your truth. You came to plant seeds of transformation just by existing in your divine frequency. You are the signpost others didn't know they were looking for. So when you feel the restlessness rise again, don't ignore it. Don't numb it. Listen, because that's the ancient part of your soul reminding you, you were chosen for this, and your time is coming. The fourth sign, you've lived through extreme polarity because you were chosen to transmute darkness into light. Have you ever wondered why your life has felt like a series of devastating extremes? Why you've experienced intense trauma, deep grief, and moments so dark they almost didn't feel real? Do you sometimes look back and think, how did I survive all of that? Or even deeper, why was I made to endure such pain in the first place? Chosen one, this is not a punishment, it is preparation. The extremities you've lived through are not accidents, they are spiritual initiations. Your life hasn't just had ups and downs, it has cycled through death and rebirth in ways that mirror the mythologies of ancient prophets and warriors. And that's not coincidence, that's calling. Isaiah 43:2 brings comfort and truth to your soul. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. Your survival wasn't random. It was proof that God walks with you, even through the most scorching trials. You see, multidimensional souls, like you, don't come to earth for comfort. They come for transformation. You didn't choose the easy route. You chose the path that would challenge every fiber of your being. Not because you enjoy pain, but because you were built to transmute it. You didn't come here to observe the darkness. You came to step into it, feel it fully, and alchemize it into something that liberates others. Lady Gaga once shared how her severe chronic pain and PTSD almost ended her career and life. But instead of allowing it to silence her, she turned it into music, advocacy, and raw truth that healed millions. She said, "I've been searching for ways to heal myself, and I found that kindness is the best way." Her transformation became a frequency others could feel, just like yours. And this is where your power truly lies. You've been shattered, not to be broken, but to rebuild yourself, stronger, wiser, more expansive. Every time you rise from the ashes, you rewrite the blueprint of what's possible for your family, your soul group, and the collective consciousness. You aren't just healing your own story, you're healing generations of pain that came before you. Romans 8:18 echoes this powerful reality. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. The deeper your wounds have gone, the greater the light that is now rising within you. What you once thought would destroy you has actually carved space for the divine to shine through you. Think about Tina Turner, a woman who suffered years of abuse, humiliation, and loss. But when she reclaimed her voice, her faith, and her divine worth, she didn't just survive, she soared. Her comeback wasn't just personal, it was global. Her life story became a mirror for others to see what radical transformation looks like. But maybe the most radical truth is this: you chose this. Before your soul came into this body, it knew what this earth walk would require. It knew the weight of the generational patterns you would break. It knew the pain it would have to feel in order to embody compassion, strength, and supernatural resilience. 2 Corinthians 4:17 confirms your journey. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Your struggles have not been in vain. They've been forging eternal weight, the kind of spiritual substance that shifts entire timelines. Now let's talk about Keanu Reeves, a public figure who rarely speaks of his tragedies. The loss of his best friend, the stillbirth of his daughter, the death of his partner. Despite all of this, he carries a quiet humility, generosity, and wisdom that cannot be taught, only earned through the fire. People feel something different in his presence, and that difference is the residue of someone who has transmuted pain into grace. You, chosen one, carry that same divine residue. Your life is an initiation chamber. Every breakdown you've endured has opened a gateway. Every tear you've cried has watered new spiritual ground. Every time you chose to rise instead of fold, you collapsed toxic timelines and activated divine ones, not just for you, but for everyone connected to you. Psalm 147 verse 3 says it best: He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And when God heals your wounds, He doesn't just patch them, He transforms them into portals of light. Your healing becomes a frequency that ripples outward, touching others even if they never know your story. So let me ask you this, chosen one: what if your most painful moments were never curses but callings? What if every darkness was actually a doorway? This isn't spiritual fluff. This is quantum truth. Your DNA holds memory from other dimensions, and every choice to forgive, to hope, to rebuild, it doesn't just shift your reality, it upgrades the grid of the entire human collective. That's why you're rare. Not because you're perfect, but because you persist, because you keep rising, because your soul made a vow to transmute suffering into salvation. You are not broken. You are reconstructed by grace. The fifth sign: time doesn't work the same for you because you're living beyond it. Have you ever felt like time bends around you? That certain days feel like years, and certain years vanish like seconds? Do you sometimes experience a moment so vivid that it stretches beyond logic, as if eternity stepped into the present? Or perhaps you've noticed you carry memories, knowledge, or even emotional imprints from places and lifetimes you can't explain. If so, chosen one, you're not imagining this. Time doesn't bind you like it does others, because you were never meant to live by the limits of the clock. Your soul isn't chained to linear progression. You exist across timelines, across realms, across dimensions. Ecclesiastes 3:11 tells us something profound. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. That's why you've always sensed more than the now. Eternity was written into your being. You, chosen one, are operating on what can only be described as cosmic time, not man-made time. While others rush through their schedules, you feel waves of knowing and intuition that arrive unannounced. You may dream of future events, feel déjà vu so intense it stuns you, or receive sudden downloads that seem to come from nowhere. But these aren't accidents. They're echoes from timelines you're already walking in other realms. You are living multiple lifetimes, right here, right now. That strange fatigue you feel, even after a full night's sleep, that's your soul working in parallel realities. That knowing you can't explain, that's your spirit remembering something it already experienced somewhere else. Your inner being is constantly weaving between your past lives, future selves, and alternate versions, all occurring simultaneously in divine orchestration. 2. Peter 3:8 confirms this multidimensional reality. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. You are not bound to clocks. You are synchronized with eternity. Terence Howard, the acclaimed actor and self-taught physicist, once shocked many by revealing that his understanding of reality doesn't follow mainstream science. He spoke of feeling like time folds in on itself, and how truth is encoded in vibration and frequency, not just formulas. He sensed that his existence was interconnected with something far greater than the present moment. And you, chosen one, carry that same knowing. There's a reason you don't always fit in with conventional structures. Your deadlines may feel artificial. Your urgency doesn't always match the world's. You've likely had moments where you ran out of time, only to find yourself right on time for something greater. That's because when you live by God's rhythm, divine timing trumps human timing. Psalm 31:15 says it plainly, "My times are in your hands." You stopped living by the calendar long ago, even if you didn't realize it. And the more you surrender to this sacred flow, the more unstoppable you become. You begin to understand that divine alignment is more powerful than hustle. You begin to realize that delay is not denial, it's divine redirection. Christopher Nolan, director of Interstellar and Inception, is another soul who seems to operate from beyond time. His films explore layered timelines, alternate realities, and the idea that time is relative to perception. When asked why he's drawn to those concepts, he once said, "Time is the most cinematic element because it's the most mysterious. It's the same mystery you've lived with your whole life." And let's not forget Akiane Kramarik, the child prodigy artist who began painting heavenly visions at the age of 4. She claimed her insights came not from imagination, but from realms she had already seen, places outside of time. Her work has moved millions because it carries frequencies that can't be measured by clocks, only by spirit. Let me ask you this, chosen one. What would your life look like if you stopped worshipping the schedule and started trusting the sacred? What would happen if you surrendered to the divine timing already pulsing through your soul? Isaiah 60:22 gives you the reassurance you need. When the time is right, I, the Lord, will make it happen. That knowing in your spirit, the one that says, "It's not time yet," or "Now is the moment," is a form of divine intelligence. You're being guided by something bigger than dates. You're being orchestrated by eternity itself. And in that surrender, chosen one, you will find your power. You were never meant to grind by the minute. You were designed to move by the Spirit, to align with divine portals, soul contracts, and cosmic convergence. You are here to help humanity remember that time is not a prison. It is a tool for awakening. Galatians 4:4 beautifully illustrates how timing and destiny are one. But when the set time had fully come, God sent his Son. Everything important in your life will unfold not by force, but by divine release. So stop fighting time. It was never your enemy. The more you try to fit into its boxes, the more your light dims. But when you live by divine pulse, when you honor the slowness, the quickenings, the strange pauses, you begin to operate in your full multidimensional glory. You are not late. You are not behind. You are moving in perfect rhythm with God's design for your soul. The sixth sign, you feel like two people, because you are the bridge between realms. Have you ever felt like you're living in two worlds at once? Like half of you is ancient, divine, and infinite, while the other half is raw, emotional, and overwhelmingly human. Have you ever asked yourself, how can I carry so much wisdom and still feel so broken? Or, why do I feel like both a guide and a student at the same time? Chosen one, this contradiction is not a flaw. It is the sacred paradox that defines you. There are days when you wake up with celestial clarity. You feel deeply connected to God, to the universe, to your mission. You see signs in everything. You feel peace that surpasses understanding. And then, almost without warning, a wave of pain, confusion, or insecurity crashes into you. The same vessel that channels light also carries the shadows. You're not just imagining this inner split. It's the mark of the multidimensional soul. You carry frequencies from realms far beyond Earth, but you've been placed in a fragile human body. This fusion makes you feel like to at some samacham or more pizza philosophy Peter Pachan back to mindset to people, but your power doesn't come from choosing one side. It comes from honoring them all. Romans 7:22-23 captures this conflict perfectly. For in my inner being I delight in God's law, but I see another law at work in me, waging war against the law of my mind. Even the Apostle Paul understood the tension between the divine and the human. This inner war isn't your failure, it's your formation. For too long, the world has told you to pick a side, be spiritual or secular, be divine or flawed, be light or dark. But you were never designed to fit inside those dualities. You were created to be the bridge. You are the integration of all things, heaven and earth, seen and unseen, holy and human. And that is your power. Carl Jung, one of the most influential thinkers of the 20th century, said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." He believed that true wholeness came not from rejecting the shadow, but from embracing it, learning to walk with it, understand it, and integrate it. You, chosen one, are being called to do exactly that. You are a walking paradox, and that is divine design. 2 Corinthians 12:9 reveals the truth of your dual nature. But he said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses." Your humanity is not a limitation. It is the canvas upon which God paints his glory. Your wounds do not disqualify you. They deepen your wisdom. Björk, the Icelandic artist known for her spiritual and ethereal music, once said, "I'm half child, half ancient being." Her work transcends time, genre, and culture because she embraces the multiplicity within her. Her identity isn't confined. It's layered, complex, cosmic. Like you, you've been taught that to be awakened means to be perfect, to always be light, always be strong, always be certain. But the truth is, the most awakened souls are the ones who've wrestled with darkness, embraced their confusion, and still chosen to show up in love. Your contradictions don't make you less divine, they make you more whole. Isaiah 45:7 reminds us of this cosmic paradox. I form the light and create darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, the Lord, do all these things. If God himself operates in both light and shadow, why would your full integration be anything less than holy? Look at Chadwick Boseman, the actor who portrayed heroes on screen while quietly battling cancer in private. He carried the strength of a warrior and the vulnerability of a human at the same time. His ability to embody both left an imprint on the world, not because he was perfect, but because he was whole. Let me ask you, chosen one, what if your depth, your duality, your inner conflict are not signs of confusion, but of capacity? What if you're not failing to choose? You're being called to embrace it all. James 1:8 says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways," but double-mindedness is not the same as multidimensional awareness. You're not unstable, you're expansive. And when you learn to stop resisting the parts of you that don't fit the mold, you begin to unlock your truest frequency. You become something rare, a fully integrated being, a soul that doesn't just preach light, but embodies the journey through darkness, a heart that doesn't deny pain, but transmutes it into presence. When you stop splitting yourself apart and start embracing the tension as holy, you begin to radiate something words can't describe. You become a living portal, not because you perform perfection, but because your presence carries the energy of permission. Others feel awakened in your presence, not because you lecture, but because you live truth without shame. You are a cosmic event in human form, chosen one. So the next time you feel like both the angel and the shadow, remember, it's not a contradiction, it's a confirmation. God didn't ask you to be flawless, He asked you to be whole. And in that wholeness, your power becomes undeniable. The seventh sign. You've always known that love is the only real thing, because you are its embodiment. Chosen one, have you ever felt a kind of love so deep it didn't need words? A knowing so pure it didn't demand proof? A vibration that lives not in a person, but in a moment, in the stillness of dawn, in the ache of loss, in the wonder of a child's eyes. Have you ever sat in silence and felt as though the entire universe was speaking to you in the language of unconditional love? If so, you've already touched the truth most people spend lifetimes chasing. The final sign that you are a rare multidimensional soul is this. You've always known that love is not just a feeling, it's a frequency. You've never been fooled by the imitation forms of love sold in romantic films or scripted in catchy songs. Those versions never resonated with you because your soul remembers a higher truth, one not bound by form, but by essence. A universal intelligence that doesn't just connect people, it binds galaxies, collapses time, and creates entire dimensions. 1 John 4:16 declares it plainly, God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. That's why love has always been your compass, because it is your origin. You don't just seek it, you radiate it. You've felt this divine current in the quiet moments no one else saw, watching the wind move through trees, holding the hand of someone in pain, or simply breathing in the stillness and knowing somehow you are connected to all things. These weren't emotional highs, they were spiritual downloads. Reminders that your truest identity is not defined by what you do, but by what you are. Love in motion. This is why betrayal cuts so deep, why cruelty feels unnatural, why apathy drains your soul, because you weren't built to accept lovelessness. Your soul was forged in a realm where love is the default setting. Anything less than that feels foreign, even hostile. And that's not a weakness. That's your gift. That sensitivity isn't fragility, it's divine memory. Psalm 103:17 gives you the eternal context. But from everlasting to everlasting, the Lord's love is with those who fear him. You are a vessel carrying that everlasting current, not just to feel it, but to become it. Take Mother Teresa, for example. She once said, "Not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love." Her presence became healing, not through ego, but through humility, service, and deep spiritual embodiment. She didn't preach love, she radiated it. So do you. You are not here to chase love. You are here to re-anchor it on earth, through your presence, not your performance, through your embodiment, not your perfection. When you walk into a room and shift the atmosphere, when your compassion disarms someone's pain without you saying a word, that's not accident, that's activation. You are a living portal, chosen one, a cosmic event in human form. Ephesians 3:17-18 tells us why you love so deeply. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ. This isn't ordinary emotion, it's divine consciousness running through your DNA. Let's talk about Fred Rogers, known lovingly as Mr. Rogers. On television, he shared simple messages with children about kindness, acceptance, and self-worth. But those words carried power because they were rooted in presence. Rogers once said, "Love is at the root of everything. All learning, all parenting, all relationships, love or the lack of it." He wasn't teaching, he was transmitting. You've likely had moments when others told you, "You're too much, you care too deeply," or "You take things too personally." But what they don't realize is that you're not just reacting, you're remembering. You remember what it feels like when love was the only language. And your mission is to bring that reality back, not by force, but by frequency. Romans 13:10 affirms this sacred truth. Love does no harm to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. In a world obsessed with performance and appearance, you are a vessel for divine fulfillment. You live by a higher law, and it makes you rare. Look also at John Lennon, who once wrote, "All you need is love." He wasn't just being poetic, he was reflecting a universal truth. Lennon's work stirred hearts because it carried remembrance. The music wasn't just catchy, it was coded with something ancient, something eternal. You do the same with your energy. And now that you've made it to this moment, this sacred point of realization, let me ask you this. What would happen if you stopped apologizing for how much you love? What if you stopped hiding the divine ache inside you and let it shine? John 14:12 whispers an invitation. "Very truly, I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these." This is not just about inspiration, it's about activation. The more you embrace your love-based frequency, the more you awaken ancient spiritual DNA within you. You are not meant to be normal. You are meant to become the love that disrupts what's broken and restores what's sacred. And now, chosen one, we've gone beyond the 7 signs. You've crossed the threshold. This is no longer about curiosity, it's about confirmation. A part of you has always known, maybe not in language, maybe not with certainty, but in your bones, in your breath, in that stillness in the middle of the night when you feel the hum of something massive just beneath the surface. That ache in your heart, that whisper you can't shake, that spark that keeps returning even after the world tries to smother it. It's the activation key, the divine alarm clock, the holy awakening. You are not waiting for the perfect moment. This is the perfect moment. You are not waiting to become worthy. You already are, because your power does not live in your future perfection. It lives in your present surrender, in your current uncertainty, in your current humanity, in your current truth. So, now that you've heard it spoken, felt it ripple through your spirit, and watched it unfold in the mirrors of scripture and story, you can't unknow it. You can't go back to pretending you're small, because you're not. You, the one watching this video with fire in your bones and tears on the edge of your soul, you're not here by coincidence. You didn't stumble into this moment. You answered a call that countless others ignored. A call that whispered across dimensions and vibrated through timelines until your soul said, "Yes, send me." Deuteronomy 30:14 speaks straight to your DNA. The word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, so you may obey it. This truth isn't foreign to you. It's been humming in your being since before your first breath. You are not here to survive a broken system, numb your intuition, or drown in endless cycles of false healing. You are not here to be normal. You are not even here to fit in. You came to this dense, chaotic, highly programmed realm not to escape it, but to transfigure it from the inside out. This is why your life has been so intense, so isolating, so raw. You didn't choose the easy route. You chose the real one, because you are not on vacation. You are on a mission, one that requires the total remembrance of who and what you truly are. Let's take a look at Bruce Lee. Not only a martial artist, but a philosopher and visionary. He once said, "All knowledge ultimately means self-knowledge." He blended spirit and form, east and west, stillness and motion. He didn't fight to dominate others. He trained to master his own multidimensional flow. Exactly what you are now learning to do. You see, being a multidimensional chosen one isn't a label to flash or a badge to wear. It's a frequency you carry, and that frequency becomes magnetic the moment you stop trying to prove yourself and start allowing yourself to simply be. 1 Corinthians 2:10 explains it beautifully. The Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. You have always been in communion with these deep things, those mysteries that live beneath words, beneath logic, beneath surface-level spirituality. The moment you recognize that your very essence is the message, everything changes. You no longer chase identity. You no longer beg for belonging. You radiate truth so rooted, so unshakable, it transforms rooms before you speak. This isn't about leading through control or titles. It's about radiance, divine presence, that silent frequency of remembrance that moves mountains without shouting and opens hearts without pressure. Robin Williams is another soul who embodied this paradox. Behind the humor was a depth of feeling, a sensitivity to humanity's sorrow that few could comprehend. He made the world laugh, but his gift was far more than comedy. It was resonance. He saw people. He felt them. And so do you. Let me ask you something soul-shaking. What would happen if you stopped identifying with your wounds? What if your trauma was never meant to be your identity, but the raw soil from which your divine remembrance could bloom? Isaiah 61:3 promises us beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, and the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. This isn't symbolic, it's structural. Your pain has purpose. Your fire has function. Your entire life has been the spiritual recalibration needed to unlock your cosmic memory. And now, chosen one, you've begun to understand what the mission really is. You are not here to float above life. You are not here to escape Earth's messiness. You are here to bring heaven down into your relationships, your work, your emotions, your breath. You're here to bring presence into everything. Washing dishes, mourning losses, laughing wildly, forgiving deeply. Yeshua, Jesus himself, lived as this divine contradiction, fully God, fully man. He didn't retreat from the world, he entered it, and in doing so, he redefined what divine embodiment looks like. You're not being called to perform perfection. You're being called to embody truth. Let's not forget Alan Watts, who echoed this multidimensional reality when he said, "You are the universe experiencing itself." Watts taught that our separation from God, from source, from wholeness, is a mental illusion. And your soul already knows this. That's why you've always felt like there's more to you than what others see. Romans 8:19 confirms your true identity. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. Yes, the universe is waiting for you. Not a perfect version of you. This you. Raw, present, real, ready. So how do you live this frequency without collapsing under the weight of awareness? You don't try to hold it all. You learn to be held by it. You return to presence, radical, embodied, moment-to-moment awareness that says, I am here, I am divine, I am the bridge. When you live this way, you begin to experience guides not as faraway spirits, but as extensions of your own higher self. Synchronicities no longer feel random. They become the rhythm of your multidimensional unfolding. And you begin to feel the version of you that has already completed the mission, sending messages through symbols, dreams, triggers, even tears. You don't have to know everything. You just have to trust the frequency. Because, chosen one, your soul is not linear. Your mission is not logical. It's energetic. It unfolds in spirals, in waves, in holy interruptions. You don't need more proof. You need more permission to finally be who you already are. And now you are ready, truly ready, not because you've healed enough, but because you've finally stopped running from your essence. You are not alone. You never were. We are here, spread across continents, timelines, and lifetimes, waking up together. Matthew 5:14 reminds you, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. So if you're still here, still reading, still feeling this fire, this is your next step, not to seek more information, but to become the transmission, to live your life so fully aligned with truth, it shifts reality around you, to walk into rooms and awaken memory, to stop hiding, to stop shrinking, to stop separating your human from your divine. Because you are the miracle, you are the portal, you are the awakening. You are a very rare, multi-dimensional chosen one, and your presence is the prophecy. Now walk it. Chosen one, when you arrive at this sacred stage of awakening, something irreversible happens, not through fireworks or grand announcements, but in the subtle collapse of your old identity. The masks you wore for survival begin to fall, not because you've defeated them, but because you no longer need them. You stop striving to become, and instead, you begin to remember what you already are. You don't just understand your truth intellectually. You feel it deep in your bones, in your breath, in the way you move through the world. Who you are is no longer a mystery to be solved. It becomes a frequency to be revealed. You finally allow yourself to just be raw, human, divine, multi-dimensional, infinite, and flawed. The paradox becomes your power. The duality becomes your home. This is when the real mission begins, not the fantasy where you leave the world behind to meditate on mountaintops, but the mission that plants you firmly in the grit of human life. You are not here to bypass density. You are here to embody light within it. You become the brick in the foundation of a new earth, walking through life not to preach, but to be a living, breathing portal that rewires timelines simply through presence. That's what it truly means to be a chosen one. It's not about superiority. It's about deep responsibility. The moment you chose to incarnate here, you accepted the mission to forget who you were, so that your remembering would send shockwaves through time and space. You chose this life, including its pain, chaos, heartbreak, and overwhelming sensitivity, not as punishment, but with precision, because only by walking through the fire would you become the kind of vessel that carries light that doesn't blind. It heals. That's why your awakening is not just personal, it's collective. You're not here only to remember. You're here to become the living reminder for others. And you don't do that by convincing or converting. You do it by embodiment. Real embodiment is not an idea. It's a decision made daily. It's showing up fully in your human life while staying anchored in your divine truth. It's choosing to love your shadow instead of shaming it, to honor your triggers as spiritual data rather than weakness, and to treat your body like the sacred vessel that it is. Your emotions aren't flaws, they are feedback. Your feelings aren't enemies. They are advanced spiritual technology meant to guide and evolve you. Every time you breathe through discomfort instead of numbing it, every time you sit with what rises instead of running, and every time you speak your truth, even when your voice shakes, you activate your multidimensional self. You retrieve fragmented pieces of your soul scattered across timelines and begin to walk as a unified field. And that wholeness doesn't just change your life, it changes the entire grid. Every moment you choose love over fear, presence over performance, soul over strategy, you create a ripple that stretches far beyond what your eyes can see. That ripple touches people you may never meet, heals wounds you'll never witness, and shifts realities you don't even know you're connected to. Romans 12:2 tells us, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." You are not just living one life. You are impacting many. Your decisions in this timeline affect outcomes in others. The more conscious you become, the more precise your energetic impact becomes. But let's be honest, this path is not easy. Sometimes it feels like you're unraveling, like the ground beneath you is dissolving, like everything you once believed is crumbling. That's because it is. You're not just changing your thoughts, you're shifting dimensions. And that process isn't linear, it's cyclical, it's sacred chaos. But in that chaos, you find a clarity that doesn't come from certainty. It comes from surrender. Isaiah 30:21 says, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" This clarity arrives not through logic, but through alignment. It looks like honoring your intuition even when it defies reason. It looks like resting without guilt, saying no to what drains you, saying yes to what lights you up, even when it scares you. It looks like creating not for applause, but from alignment. It means loving without condition, speaking without apology, and serving without ego. This is what it means to walk in truth. And truth, chosen one, doesn't shout, it resonates. This resonance is what builds the new world, not through revolutions of rage, but through quiet, steady embodiment. Revelation 21:5 says, "Behold, I am making all things new." That new world isn't far away. It's being constructed through your choices, your relationships, your alignment. It's born every time you parent with presence, speak with vision, hold space instead of judgment, and challenge systems through coherence, not chaos. You're not here to fight the old. You are here to build the new. And the new is not built in governments. It's built in you. Think of Malcolm X. His transformation from criminal to conscious, from anger to clarity, wasn't just political. It was spiritual. His embodiment of truth, no matter how complex or controversial, turned him into a living frequency that couldn't be ignored. And that's your invitation too, not to be understood, but to be true. You are the living blueprint of what's next. Your life is the template. And the more you align with your soul's truth, the more magnetic you become, not in power, but in coherence. Because true power isn't about dominance, it's about deep inner resonance. Philippians 1:6 reminds you, "He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus." Your path was never a mistake. Your pain was not pointless. Your desires are not delusions, they are directions. Your dreams are not distractions, They are divine instructions. What would your life look like if you finally lived from your soul instead of your story? What would happen if you stopped waiting for someone else to validate your power and realized that your power is the very permission others have been waiting for? 1 Peter 2:9 says, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession." That's not metaphor, that's identity. And now, chosen one, the time for hiding is over. The time for becoming has arrived. You are no longer just remembering, you are ready to embody. And embodiment happens not in the future, not when you've figured everything out, but here, now, breath by breath, choice by choice. So if you're still here, still feeling this in your body, your bones, your breath, this is your confirmation. The transmission is complete. The activation has occurred. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are the change. You are not waiting to be chosen. You've already been. And now the only thing left to do is become everything you are. Beloved chosen one, you are not broken. You are breaking through. You are not lost. You are discovering dimensions of yourself that most will never have the courage to explore. You are not too sensitive. You are deeply attuned to the sacred frequencies this world has tried to forget. You are not too intense. You are ignited with the fire of divine remembrance. You are not too much. You are exactly what this earth has been waiting for. So go forward. Walk with clarity. Speak with courage. Create with soul. Rest with reverence. Lead with humility. And love without condition. Not as the version of you the world wanted, but as the rare, radiant, multidimensional being that you are. You are the bridge between realms, the frequency, the living code, the prophecy in motion. And always remember, you don't need to see the entire path. You only need to take the next step. One step in truth changes everything. From the depths of my heart, thank you for walking this journey with me. Whether you've been here silently listening or actively awakening, your presence in this space has been felt and honored. If this message has touched your spirit and you feel called to support this work, you can do so through Super Thanks. It helps us keep creating, sharing, and expanding this divine mission. But whether you choose to give or simply carry the message forward in your own way, know this: you are deeply appreciated, seen, and loved. May every cell in your body remember your divine assignment. May your spirit be wrapped in peace. May your steps be guided by grace. May your presence continue to awaken others without needing to speak a word. And may your journey ahead unfold in divine timing, with divine protection and divine favor. You are not alone. You never were. And now that you've remembered, the world can never be the same again. Go in light. Go in truth. Go in love. Your time is not coming. Your time is now.